Coming to you straight from the Rio Grande and beyond. Broadcasting to the four corners of the globe. So grab your seat, your coffee, or your sundowner.
Okay, everybody, here we go.
On point, as always. This is Gloves Off. Gloves Off.
Back at you, Gloves Off. I'm Paul Buitrón. I'm here with Cynthia Vazquez, a.k.a. La Piel Morena. How are we doing today?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me over, and having some time to speak up.
Well, no, number one, thank you for standing up. I know that you've been standing up for a while now and voicing your opinion, which is great. Mm-hmm. We need people who stand up now more than ever, especially in what our community is doing.
Right.
Okay? And I would say not our whole community and base, but what a lot of our community is being complacent, just being shut out. And we need people who stand up against our government, okay? And not in a bad way. I don't want insurrection or anything like that. We need to start saying, hey, you know what? We need to start holding some of these people accountable.
Correct.
And that's not that. And that's basically the bottom line. I was very appalled about what happened to the Republicans and the Republican Party and people that came down this past week, and how they were all of a sudden called white nationalists, extremists, militia, and all this other stuff. And I know you were there in some parts, and you were part of what was going on there, especially with the Trump train. I want you to tell us your side. What occurred?
So, to my knowledge, I know that this weekend they were having the SREC meeting. That's a Republican meeting they have quarterly. So it's usually done in Austin. But the new chair, Allen West, he came up with the brilliant idea of having it around the state of Texas, so more people can join and see what the party is about or the beliefs they have. So this time around, this was planned some months back, and it was going to be in Laredo, in the border towns, to get the more, people out there and to get to know what's about. So it was planned before, before this crisis, if you want to call it, or border security breach, or whatever you want to call it, happening, So with him bringing the meeting over, then other organizations joined and wanted to do a rally in the border, right? So he was here, and all this No Border Wall coalition, directed by Tricia Cortez, were there having their protests, and they had signs of, one of them said MAGA, like they're so triggered by our ex-president Trump, which I'm a very big fan of, and they still have him and naming him, and they're like, get MAGA out of here, and blah, blah, blah. Never in one of those posts says human trafficking, or stop the organ trafficking, or sex trafficking, because I don't know if they just want to, tapar el sol con un dedo. So, and they were like harassing Mr. Allen West, and they were calling him white nationalist. And if you're not aware, he even said, and I'm quoting, "I am black."
He's Colonel West is, never met him. I've already heard a lot of good stuff from him. And for him to be insulted in that fashion and the way he was harassed, I saw a video. Mm-hmm. And it was some news reporter that had it. It was on social media. Mm-hmm. And I was very appalled, because if they had white hoods, it would have been a total different entity.
Right. Okay,
now we would have put them into another Democrat organization known as the Ku Klux Klan, put them in white hoods.
Right.
And the same rhetoric was being said, the hate that was being spewed would have come at him, it would have been a total different entity. And the hate is already here.
It's them.
And Mr. West, not all Laredo's like that, so if you see this, and what happens is, we're sorry that some people acted that way, but that's not the whole Laredo.
And let's add, it's not only Colonel Allen West here, it's the people that came down to our city as guests. Yes, there's a lot of white people. I'm not going to deny that. But they're still humans. Just because they have a different color of skin than I do, doesn't make them any worse or any better. They're just like me. So I believe that hatred was spread there that day when they were harassing the people that came down. It wasn't a way of welcoming anybody. I wouldn't want to be welcomed into a city that it's my first time coming down to, or second or third, in that fashion.
Absolutely.
I know that la gente de Laredo son family oriented, nos gusta la carne asada, trabajadora. For the most part, we're good people. You know, so with the welcoming that they offered or gave, or even if it was a protest, calling names, it's uncalled for, unprofessional. I do think that Trisha Cortez should come up and apologize on behalf of her group. She does not have control of what was said on the megaphone or whatever, but she should take responsibility.
You know, and it's a shame, and she and her group, if they want to come out and talk, you can do so. You know, they can, as long as you stay quiet in a humane conversation. I'll talk to anybody. But I grew up with discrimination. Okay, I grew up seeing bullies, and you had to stand up to the bully. And the best way to stand up to a bully is when you punch him right in the middle of the mouth. Okay, and that's just the way you are. Then all of a sudden, you know, you became the person that beat up the bully. You became the aggressor. No, it's not that. These bullies were out there. You've seen Democrat units of this type beat up kids that were wearing a red hat, old men, old women, and there's hundreds of video on this.
What do they call us?
What are they coming after us?
Nopal en la frente. Why? Because I have a brown skin and I come from Mexican descendants. That's why I have a nopal in the frente, and I was for Trump. And they even told me, pobrecita, when I went to the Biden with my bag and my Trump sign on the back, no sabes que Trump no te quiere. And I'm over here, it's not about liking or disliking or whatever you want to call it. It's about the policies that were being played and everything that was getting done for our country. Now look at the position that we're in, and we're what, in the third month of Biden's presidency? It's a big difference.
Listen, Laredo's it's a beautiful town. That's why I moved back. But it's also a very violent town. Okay? And for the longest time, back here 20 years ago, I'm going to go back to early 2000s, there was no Republicans, there were no Democrats. They were all Democrats, and either you were with a judge or you were on the sheriff's side. And if you didn't support one or the other, your business was being doxxed. You were being aggressively pushed back at your business. So that aggressivity's always been, and it's always been Democrats that have demonstrated it. Now Republicans here in Webb County are coming more alive because we haven't had a Republican run as Republicans we've had, but actually win in a very, very long time. I think the last Republican, but it's nonpartisan in city council, was Gene Belmontes, and he did great. But what we're talking about is now you're seeing the hate driven from the Democrats to the Republicans. And it's sad because we all want a betterment for our community. And not everybody thinks alike. Okay? And now more than so, people need to stand up and go out and vote, even though many claim that voting is wrong or fraud or whatever name,
Right,
you know.
right.
So there is a problem. But let's go back to Saturday and Friday and what they're calling you, because they're calling you a white nationalist extremist, right?
Right. So yes, they like to insult people, and
Sure.
I don't know, like that's kind of it is bullying.
That's what it is.
It is bullying, and they're harassing him and Colonel and West, and they're towards the posada where they're hosting the meeting. He actually had to come out and say, okay, who are you like doing this protest for, type of deal. And you can actually go to the No Border Wall Coalition. It's kind of like initiating violence there. And it says Ken Paxton, the Attorney General for Texas. He wasn't even part of the agenda. So pretty much just gather people, let's go protest, and they had it all wrong to begin with. And Colonel Allen West told him, I'm black, I'm not Ken Paxton, he's white. So this protest is kind of like irrelevant type of deal. So then they go out to all the people, right? They walk over to the riverbanks, and they're there protesting and screaming again and saying all these names, right? So it comes down to, stop the insulting. You want to believe in the unicorn and you want to vote for the unicorn or whatever you want. That's fine. But see, the thing with the conservatives or the Republicans, they tend to take it. They tend to be quiet and respect your beliefs. But I think now we're having the Republicans or conservatives coming out and say, you know what, that's too much. We're not going to allow you.
Hopefully we have more of that. But let me put it to you this way. And I'm for a peaceful protest.
Right.
What it says, the right for peaceful assembly.
Right.
It does not go in there to call anybody names. It does not go in there to go insult anybody, to induce a fight. That's not what it's about.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
Because if you want to induce a fight, fight's going to happen. I mean, they're egging on a fight. They're going to be very surprised. And believe me, your Obamacare is not going to protect your broken jaw.
I agree.
You know what I'm saying? It's going to
mean,
happen.
look,
It's going to happen. Te van a decir una cosa a ti, te van a empujar, and boom, it's going to be the end of the story.
Let's not go too far. Let's go back in the elections. You know, Sylvia Bruni called the Republicans thugs. You know, and it's like, why? And she lied about all these things. We actually have footage of how they were like harassing Colonel Allen West and the guests that were here. She has no proof. It's a she say story. How do you even do that? Where's the proof? But yet you call us thugs and nos pala en la frente and we don't know any better. Who is she? Like, no, you know, that needs to stop. You want to have a discussion, let's have a healthy and, you know, knowledgeable discussion. You know, not this whole name calling, because that's all they do. Name calling and insulting. You know, so that's where I stand, and whenever they want to have a conversation, by all means. But calling us thugs, why nationalists, and I don't know, like, they're not welcome here because they're not from Laredo. They're still putting money in. We have all these asylum seekers coming in. They're not putting money in, okay? Let's just put it out there. But they are welcome, and we can't welcome people from white people.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, when they come in here, and if you're talking about a quarterly Republican dinner, well, I think they had to, because it happened at the Posada, so I think they had to rent the Posada.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure some of them stayed at the Posada.
Mm-hmm. And others.
And other hotels. Right. And I'm pretty sure they went shopping, because I have a dear friend of mine that came down, and I recognized her because of her hat, Dr. Alma, and she comes down here and she goes shopping, and you know, and this is somebody that my kids call aunt. Right. You know, la tia, you know, so, and it's a shame, because other cities want that.
Right.
And want that publicity and want that business. Right. That's why McAllen ate our lunch a long time ago.
Right.
Okay, McAllen's on their third picnic, and we're not even having finished our first one.
Right.
That's why they're beating us in everything, because of that type of community embrace.
Right. You know, and I'm not going to say the whole community, because I know a lot of good people in Laredo, and it's like te invitan a la iglesia, te invitan al carmesazo, al menú del domingo, los tamales, you know, that's our kind of people. Not the people that are insultive. You know, si me buscas, me encuentras. Tampoco, I'm going to put my cheek, and that's the thing with the conservatives and the Republicans, you know, they put the cheek and they da la cachetada and they turn around for the next one. I'm not like that.
No.
I'm not going to take it. I'm pretty sure you're not going to take it either, you know. So if you're born and raised in Laredo, a lot of us are like that. And the thing is, right now I do believe that what we're standing for is not like a personal attack. I think it's bigger than that, in the sense that what we're seeing nationally with like the transgenders getting into the female sports, and a lot of this, they're trying to take away our guns, and they're trying to bring that Beto. It's not Beto, it's Robert O'Rourke. Okay, stop that. He's coming over to Laredo like he's an all-star. You know, it's like, and he's trying to pass as a Hispanic. Then, not to mention the criminal record. It's like, say it how it is. Don't sugarcoat it. And I think that's one of the things they hated Trump for, because he just said it how it was.
And that's the reason why many people voted for him. You know, and that's the way it is. That's the way it is. That's the way it is, Piel Morena. And I'm telling you, we need more people like you to stand up. We need more people to start voicing their opinions. Listen, our government is not our nanny.
That's right.
They're not here to babysit us. They're not here to tell us, hey, you know what, you have to slow down, you can't be doing that. No. We're supposed to tell the government, this is what needs to be done. We the people.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Okay? And the way it goes down here in Laredo is they walk around acting like mafiosos.
Mm-hmm. Untouchable.
Okay? And they're not. And they go around, and if you don't like it, they'll retaliate some form or another, or they'll go after your kid in high school, and they'll bring the dogs in, and then they found one seed of marijuana, the kid's as clean as, and it's happened before.
Right.
They'll use their thugs to go after you, and they do have thugs.
Yeah.
And I've seen it. They've tried it on me, so I'm speaking by what's happened, by experience.
Right.
Okay?
No, I mean,
so
I mean, if Miss Sylvia Bruni calls us thugs, it takes one to know one.
You know what I'm saying?
So.
And it's you know, this is what I tell people, and this is what I tell Republicans. I think all Republicans should leave the Webb County Republican Party and join the Webb County Democrat Party.
Just to make it easier.
Just to make it easier. And we all go over there and we join and we put good people inside office. We could put good conservatives inside office because basically what it boils down to, we're both Americans and we're working about conservatism. And conservatism needs to be back. So if we do that, I think we can have a better field because the other Republicans in the state, I'm glad they saw what happened because for the longest time they have left Laredo behind. And now they saw it firsthand of what they created.
I think.
Understand what I'm saying?
Right, but I think, to all fairness, like, I think they came also down because, you know, they saw the people in need. Like, when the Trump train went on, you know, it was unexpected, to be honest, the amount of people that came out. And, I mean, I know there's a lot of educated people out there that know what's going on and the consequences that it's actually coming and happening in life today, you know. And I think that's what happened, like, up north, whatever they saw, like, hey, like, wow, there's actually a lot of conservative people by the border, you know? Because let's face it, I'm going to say 97, 98% Hispanic here, you know?
And we tend to be conservative. And that's what people don't understand.
Right.
And there's somebody explained it to me this way, and it was a professor of history. He was a professor at SMU. His last name was actually Walter. And he said, you know, and he spoke fluent Spanish. And he said, the reason Latinos vote Democrat is because of the word democracia. They think that being a Democrat, you're going to have better democracy.
Right.
And that's not the case. And that's the reason why. And he goes, and I said kind of like, yeah, you might be right because it makes sense. Because you have a lot of Mexican Americans, a lot of Latinos or Puerto Ricans or what have you in different areas that they're conservative and they're going to vote on the Democrat side because of that. Why is that? But we have a lot of conservatives here in Laredo.
I think, yeah, for the most part, I would say 95% are.
You know, so when you get that on the bottom, and they're voting Democrat. So if we go into the Democrat Party and we throw in good candidates there and remove the name, and all of a sudden we can bring back conservatives into.
Right, I think it's.
You know what I'm saying?
I think it's crucial right now that we do bring the conservative value back to light because when you get offended over a book, over a movie, over stuff like that, and you make everything racist, like Aunt Jemima's, you know, syrup. They take everything that was either Indian, African American, and all that kind of stuff, and you leave all the white people on brands. It's like you're actually suppressing those people because, you know, I mean, I would really get upset, I guess, if they take away chocolate abuelita. Like, no, that's Mexican, that's from my roots. Like, I'm proud that somebody made it out there. I mean, it's Spanish, actually, but I'm proud, you know, that, hey, somebody made it big and they're out there and selling chocolate all over the world. I mean, yo no, you know? But I think here, the narrative that they're trying to switch to make it to their convenience and using that racist card, it's already, people need to wake up. They're the ones being racist. They're the ones trying to suppress us. They're the ones trying to keep us down. You know, so I think that it's time for us to come up.
And you're absolutely correct. I'm going to change the subject just a little bit. I want to commend you, Hector Garza, and Winteroff, and Jen Lowe on what you all did with the Trump train. That was magnificent. What you all guys organized in such a short period of time, nobody could have ever done. I want to thank you guys for that because that brought Laredo back to the map. You see, we want to be number one. We're number one in trade and the bridge
Right.
and everything else. We're number 15 all over the other places, 20 and 40 and whatever on the other lists that come in. We're top in the worst list as well. So let's bring it back. You know, one thing that I saw and that I read, that we gave a black eye to the city of Laredo, or you know, it was a black eye was given this past past weekend with everything that went on, and I was like, black eye.
We We didn't. I
You
know
did not?
we weren't part of the organizational stuff, whatever. But I think the Democrats are trying to push this narrative because that way it fits their agenda. Making it seem racist and they're white and they're not from here. Okay, skip all that. Let's move forward. It's people coming from out of town in a pandemic, coming into our city, putting money in. Okay, risking their lives, whether it's from an asylum seeker, whether it's from one of us or a car crash, whatever. They're still risking their lives and coming out here. So if you take all that racist stuff out of the table, okay, and it's people putting money into our economy, okay, and even the hotels, the food, they go shopping or whatever, even say hi or bye to whoever, or getting to know people that think like you or against you. They don't want to sit and talk. They just want to argue and fight and whatever. So I think that when Mimi and I went, Mimi went around the corpse. By the way, I didn't know her before the Trump training. I met her there, right? Well, when we had our discussions and whatever. But when we saw, and it's kind of an eye-opening to know that what goes on, what they offer, what they bring to the table. Because that's Laredo, born and raised here. I didn't know these meetings were occurring. We're kind of used to, if you want to go to a party, you just kind of sit there and eat brisket, and that's pretty much. In events, they bring speakers every now and then, sort of say, right? But when you actually sit on a meeting on the sidelines and you get to know the legislator laws that they're trying to push and stuff like that, it's an eye-opening. They're bringing it down to us. It's an honor that they're coming down to us, and whether you're for it or against it, but you open your eyes.
Yep. It's sad. And it's something that the business community should say, you know what? There's a lot of different businesses, but the business community, because of their shenanigans, is hurting once more because other organizations will not want to come back because of what they saw.
But,
you know what I'm saying? So
I agree.
And that's going to put a dent more so than what they try to do, and they try to smudge it off like if nothing happened. They claimed on people that were under FBI investigation. Somebody was there under FBI investigation.
Oh, correct. Mm-hmm.
At one time, our whole city council was in investigation under the FBI.
I know,
you know what I'm saying? You're like,
I know. It's
and some of them are still sitting there. You're like, what? What are you talking about?
Right.
An FBI investigation was already here. You were under one. What's the matter?
Like God said, el que esté libre de pecado que tire la primera piedra.
You know what I'm saying?
And there's no rocks thrown, right? Once you say that, se acaban las piedras. But the thing is, like I said, they're trying to push their narrative. So I think that's the reason I'm coming out and being, loud. And people are also thinking like, hey, wait a minute, that doesn't sit right with us. They have the Rio Grande Young Conservative Group that they're also being very vocal about all this stuff that's going on. They need to stay, alert in everything that's going on. They're kind of trying to push their agenda kind of silently in a nice kind of way so it doesn't sound bad. But por acá están tirando las piedras. So it's kind of like, are you a good people or no? But just an FYI, just so you know, the wall might still come. There's a possibility. And I think that's what they're trying to push harder and making it seem that it was a racist thing. Because Nancy Pelosi actually did sign the bill, the executive bill, before Biden came into office. So that's why the No Border Wall Coalition is still trying to stay active on it. But we need to make sure that we do want the wall, and we need it right now more than anything. If they're asylum seekers, at the port of entry, we have bridges, and that's the way to go.
There's nobody here saying anything against immigration.
Right.
We embrace anybody that's going to come in and do legal immigration. Mm-hmm. And if you're a refugee because you're running away from a political stance, or they want to kill you, or what happens, and you come in here as that, we'll bring you in and we'll embrace you. There's laws for that.
Right.
But you know who is to blame for this?
Cool.
Those sitting in Washington, D.C. for 30, 40 years. Okay? He was in there. He could have fixed this immigration long ago, and they kept passing it by. But let's do this. The ones to blame is Congress and the U.S. Senate for not fixing the immigration laws 20, 30, 40 years ago.
Right.
This is their baby, this stuff that happened here. So they want to blame Trump and they want to blame everybody else. No, it's you guys that have been there.
I mean, it's a very sad case. There's a lot of kids coming in this crisis right now. And it's human trafficking. Call it what you want, But I mean, at the end of the night, like they don't have someone to go to. Some of them don't at all. It's kind of like a la suerte, And
Absolutely.
so, if we're being a Democrat or liberal, conservative, Republican, like, you're human.
Absolutely. This is a.
And it's gonna cost us all. It's not a whole, ya llegaron and that's it. Like, no, they have to be fed. They have to, have a place to go. Blah blah blah. Like, there's an expense coming. So,
Yep.
Who's gonna take the bill?
You're absolutely correct. Now, here's one that I want to ask you on a personal note.
Mm-hmm.
Would you ever think about running for political position? We need people like you, vocal, that are going to stand up there and say, you know what?
Mm-hmm. At this moment, I'm gonna stay like neutral. Maybe, who knows? Depending what I'm seeing, because you can sometimes go and bark at the tree and it's like not going anywhere, But we did see a lot of people coming out with the Trump train, so they want change, and also with the conservatives and the Republicans. And this past meeting with the city council, the chairman of Laredo, Tyler Cross, came out and he gave a speech as well, And it's something that has never been seen, coming out and saying, hey, like what happened, this past weekend is uncalled for type of deal. I mean, he took a stand for his team and I applaud him for that and stuff. We had Hector Garza, the union president for Border Patrol, and it's like, hey, this is kind of like a slap in the face for the VP. Like, you're trying to get this proclamation out, and so people are coming out. That's where I'm getting at, right? So, and he said, hey, let's make modifications. He wants to meet in the middle, and pretty much say like, well, yeah, it's not as bad, like a crisis, because thanks to the law enforcement, local, state, federal, blah, 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 sort of state, So it was victorious for both parties, I would say, like meet us in the middle, and that goes a long way versus just a one-sided, because it has always been one-sided, okay? It's whatever they say, it goes. This time it was like meet in the middle, and it goes a long way, it kind of makes us feel that we're being heard. So when it comes to the question you said, if we can still impact our community in some way or fashion, then let's see, lo que Dios quiera.
Okay. We'll shut it off. And once more, I want to thank you for standing up.
Thanks. So
And,
you do. You need
keep
to stand
doing
up.
what you do. Stand up.
Yeah.
Stand up. And we will. We're here.
Yeah.
And folks, thanks once more for what you all did this weekend. Till next time, peace. And remember, stay safe and be safe.
Take care.
Today, in America, more than 5.5 million men, women, and children train in a martial art regularly. Buitrón Academy has been serving Laredo for over 30 years now. Our adult classes are geared for producing the best in you, teaching you street-ready techniques. With the arts of Savate and Kinpo, you'll learn the traditions of these sciences of combat, as passed down professor to student.
Hello everybody, my name is Senior Grandmaster Alfredo Bandalan, owner of BDP, Bandalan the Siparis. I'd like to say a few words on Grandmaster Piel Morena. He's a man of great integrity, a man of great knowledge of martial art. He's a master of Savate and master of Eskrima. He's a man that can help you to become what you want to be. He's a man that teaches people how to be somebody in life, how to work the world, how to be happy in this world. He's a man that I can say holds many integrity as well as in martial art. But I'd like to say this man has a radio station, does hunting all over the world, and he works with all kind of people, all walks of life. All I want to say, that Piel Morena is a man that can help people to be somebody in life. I'd like to say aloha, thank you.
I am Grandmaster Michael Duran, of Original Huron Eskrima Federation here in Vallejo, California. Professor Paul Buitrón is an accomplished martial artist who has developed an understanding that as a caretaker in our martial arts, it is his responsibility to keep the art alive, and in depth, he acknowledged that it is the students that give the art life. I hold his friendship and his continuing accomplishments in the art in the most highest regard. Thank you.
Come train at the best kept secret of Laredo. Give us a call for your free evaluation at 956-401-4868 or check out our website at savat.biz. Follow us on YouTube and Facebook.